Good evening, and thank you again for giving me your time this Saturday. I'm back with another power packed session of the MD Talk Show. My name is Ketan, and next 60 minutes, I am going to introduce you to somebody who I know for quite some time, one of the most amazing people that I've ever known. While I talk about the guest in a while, this session, the talk show about MDE Talk Show, the Million Dollar Employee Talk Show, I started this event. This is the sixth session. I started it in January 2022. The core idea, the core aspiration, the core desire to do this came from the fact that in the corporate world, everybody speaks about leadership, management, organizations, culture, but very few speak about how and what can each one of us do individually to become a very valuable employee. That's where the idea of million dollar employee came in, where I say, I want each one of you to become so amazing, so incredible, so powerful that nobody would want to lose you even for $1 million in cash. With that, I get on stage a very close friend, say a huge hi to Captain Pranab Prasoon. Captain, how are you?
All good, Ketan. How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming here.
My pleasure.
Before I'm not gonna do a formal introduction of Captain here. It will, and you will know why I'm not doing a formal introduction. So we go back almost 30 years from now. We grew up together. We met in one of the schools where which was an English medium school, perhaps one of the only English medium school in our part of the world. And there were two. I was always the front bencher, not because I was a smart kid, but I was not tall enough to qualify to sit in the back bench. And I had a new colleague next to me, a friend, and I had no idea this relationship would turn out to be so wonderful. So Captain and I were sitting, on this seat. uh, 2003, and the relationship of course continued, thanks to we have been those friends who have written letters to each other, handwritten letters. I still have a lot of those copies. Captain has always inspired me for the person who is, and this was 2003. I'd given my CDS entrance, the army SSB entrance exam, and I cleared it, written exam, and perhaps that was the first exam, competitive exam, that I cleared. And my SSB was scheduled in Bangalore. So I landed up in Bangalore in, I think, 2002, 2003, 2003. Yes, this was 2003. And Captain was also doing his BBS, or Bachelor in Management Studies from Bangalore. So before my SSB interview, I, of course, that was a place where I came in with my bag and baggage and said, okay, I'm going to stay here for a day. And then next day I was supposed to go for SSB interviews. And when I evening he was studying, and I remember he was preparing for CAT, right? He was preparing so much. There were these piles of books which were there, and he was doing something, and I was like, "What are you doing, right? What is there in corporate? What is there in MBA? Why are you even wasting your time?" And that's the kind of relationship that we've always had. And he looked at me and said, you are wasting your time. What are you doing here? Giving your SSB exams and all, or army and all is not our cup of tea. Why are you wasting your life? And we had, some interesting conversation that day. A year later, CAT happened for me, and I did started my MBA journey. And Captain went into the army. So I tell him we kind of are living each other's first dreams. That's how it's transpired into. And yeah, an amazing person he is. He is right now heading HR for NNO India. He of course has worked in the Indian Army and now into corporate. And I thought, why don't I get somebody like him who will talk about power of resilience, power of change, because if you look at from what he has done, being trained in one of the best training schools in the world, being on the field serving the nation, and then taking a shift to corporate, right? I'm certain it would not have been easy, right? Today when I think of changing my line or my function or my job or my company, there's a lot that goes in my head. And when I coach people, when I speak to people, this is a concern a lot of us talk about. I have these fears still. So I've been looking at somebody and I said, okay, nobody better than Captain can talk about what he went through, how he transitions, and what are some of the things that we can learn from his life, which will help us make those decisions in life and career that we have always wanted to. So, Captain, thank you again for your time and
Thank you, Ketan.
welcome
Great to
to.
hear a lot about me from you in good ones.
At least on the camera, I'm supposed to do it, right?
Yes, thank you for all that.
When we meet, otherwise, I'm sure there is a lot that will come out which we can't be putting
Yes,
on camera. But
let's censor that for the time being. Yes.
yeah, people can join in, of course, later for those conversations when we're doing it. We'll invite you guys for a unofficial chat to learn the other realistic tricks and tips from Captain. But yeah, Captain, over to you to tell me about your journey, and especially the transition. From the being somebody who was there on the front to leading differently now. How has that transition been?
Thank you, Ketan. First, let me congratulate you for this noble cause. I think, it is really adding a good value to a lot of lives, and keep on doing it as you continue this. Okay, so quickly, as Ketan and I come from very small place, so challenges and changes were a part of our lives. And what one thing which I remember very clearly, as we can say that we had been chaddi buddies, and in real sense it had been like that. um, uh, when Ketan came that day and he went to write CDS, and maybe after 2 days he came back, and something happened that day, and he was really sad. And I that day I felt that I cannot let my friend down like this. Then I told that, okay, what happened, what they did, what is the CDS, and how it is. uh, and from there, the so-called the change in my mindset happened. And maybe after 6 months I was writing the exam, and I was selected, and I was there, and the shift started from there. And if I say the core of the shift was love, of course, for a friend. And because some test, if they don't accept him, and I say that I am the other part of him, and let me go and see that how they don't accept and feel the real thing. Because what I strongly feel is, if you have a pained person, you don't you know empathize or be compassionate towards the person. Rather, I feel you become the pained person. And if you become the pained person, I think you are on the same grounds, and you can see the pain. So that was something which connected. And thank you, Ketan, for everything which happened post that. So yes, army just happened. I keep on telling this, army just happened. The genesis comes from Ketan, of course. And the training was real tough. And it is a different genre altogether, right? You have the uniform, you have the pride, you have so you in our those days of 20s, we have a lot of people talking, and this is something which you are doing and leading leadership, what we saw here in civil life. And I tell you this, and that's how we divide army and civil life. Leadership is there, always leading from the front, and that is the reason why most of the lieutenant captains and majors, they sacrifice their lives, because the men are behind. And when we lead, we ensure that the first bullet comes, it goes through us. This is the sort of learning which I get from here. And I'll tell you the learnings which I received last 12, 13 years working in civil streets. But it all depends on the person we are. And maybe our grooming from the childhood was very different. uh, and that was that, okay, no one is left behind. I'll come for you wheresoever it is. Sort of a very cliche term these days called loyalty, a cliche term these days called trust, a cliche term called these days called love, not friends with benefits. These things come very grass rooted and sedimented quite deep down in us, in me. And that's how the journey started. And changes, yes, every day was lived in army, and I continue to do that as the last day of my life. And because that's how the life is there. You don't know that tomorrow what is going to happen. With almost 6 years, almost 90% of the time, I had worked in counter in terrorism operations, those areas. uh, so it was that today, if I am having a good time, a gala time, that is the time I have. Maybe tomorrow I don't know what is going to happen. So in bits and pieces, of course I cannot explain all the operations front, but that's how the living was, and that's how changes were accepted and hugged and kissed and taken as the way it is. Friends were celebrated, relationships were celebrated, and every fear what we had was seen in the eyes. And what I feel, what Ketan today, the genesis, what you bring is, when we talk about the change and we talk about the change in careers, one thing very important is the uncertainty. And what is fearful is uncertainty, right? And because we want to see the complete the journey, but my thing is, if you are able to see the first step or the second step which is in front of you, if you can see that, even if you cannot see the journey, it is quite fine. So that's how I, simple person, simple way of living, and that's how it helps. I think I added some value, Ketan, what you wanted
No, no,
from me.
no, thank you. So one very important thing that I pick up from him, he said what he learned in the army initially is that accept the change, right? I think that's a very, very powerful thing. Rather than fighting and trying to ask a question, why this change? What Captain's speaking about acceptance of the change itself. And second, I think it will be interesting to talk about. He says about talks about fear is in the eye. What I understand in that training, whatever I hear of from you is that you're exposed to the biggest fears, right? I think that's the kind of training that essentially you would have gone through. Uh, so now you have seen both part of the world, and by the way, for all of you, Captain is a double time author. So he wrote his first book, I think, right after or when he was in the army. It's a book called Those Unknown, and then second one he wrote about a year back, Captain,
Yes.
right? That's the second one. So it's kind of now I have to write my second one to come up to him. So we are always very neck to neck on few things that we want to do. So I think that's the note of inspiration that we get. But another very important thing that you spoke about is we don't take steps because of this fear of uncertainty. And something beautiful that you said is if even if you're able to see one or two steps, take those steps. Uh, now as a HR practitioner, somebody who understands people also, what do you think causes these fears? And what has been your experience? Is there something, an example that you could give where you had some fear and you were able to overcome it, which will help people, make a decision? And if it could be in the relation of this shift from army to coming back to or restarting your career in corporate, right? I think that would have been a massive shift, right?
Yeah.
You have a job, you have a stature, you have a huge accountability, you are leading from the front. It's a government job which is looked at with one of the most respect, to now trying to get into and start your career almost like a fresher. How difficult or easy was it, and what went through what went
Of
in it?
course. Yeah. Ketan, before we talk about fear, I'll take you down the memory lane. Seventh or eighth standard, and the first fear was uh, fear of public speaking, right? And we both were in extempore, I and Ketan, and I think we both had tasted that fear when the topic was given, and our hands were shivering. Uh, it was real bad feeling, and we had to talk. And I, Ketan, and remember one more guy. Though it was, the thing about fear is, it is internal. It is not external. Yeah, and we have our own fights with that, right? So the extempore was over, and I, Ketan, and one more guy. We all three were third, first and second, and there were three guys, sharing three small cups. So the fear that day I felt, and that was maybe the first time I was on the stage. I think you too, Ketan, on the extempore, I think, and the way you are talking these days is great, because maybe that day we overcame that fear what we had. So what I believed from that day was, the simple thing about fear is you have to face it. Yeah, and it is internal, and nothing outside. See, they say there's an Arabic proverb which says, if the enemy inside uh, can do you no harm, enemy outside is nothing. It is something like that. I lost the track. So coming to the transition, uh, then comes the second part. One is fear of unknown and the fear of uncertainty, and second is being judged. Yeah, and being judged is a very strong deterrent, I would say, which forces us many times in our lives to be comfortable, to be in a comfort zone. Every time when we are, doing quite okay, and for a leap, it requires, that push, to the next level, that energy to the next level. It only comes when you have to do something extra, what Keaton talks about, extraordinary. So the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that extra. So you have to do something extra, then only you can become that extraordinary, right? And it is a choice. Now that choice is many times sacrificed because we are too affected by this word called being judged, right? And being judged can be from anyone, from your spouse, from your friends, from your kid, from the family, from the society, from your colleagues, right? And then comes, there is a different fear after being judged. It is called fear of failure. Now before and then later, all these things comes up in a word called stress. And because of this, you don't do what ought to be done. Now, righteousness, or if you say you want to move your career in a direction where you are really hungry for it, it first is it's your choice. No one will tell you. It is not a sort of your 20s that your brother, your elder brother, the way it used to happen in our place, or maybe your dad or mom will define your career or define your next move, or your spouse or your kid. Doesn't happen. The change happens from you. And that thing comes, that is it, I'm comfortable or I want to do something extra. And if you want to do something extra, then you have to take chances, the chances which were not taken before. So this is what I strongly feel. So first is the fear, then is the thing called being judged by others, and then it turns up to the so-called the fear of taking chances, right? And the fear of failing.
So you spoke about fear of being judged by the spouse. Have you been able to solve for it? Because we can do a 10-hour session separately on that, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to attend that.
Because that person is the closest, and the thing is, it is like a metrics in front, and you will be told that, okay, that thing you told and this thing you told, and this is not going because that day it was like this. So that person is the closest person. Maybe even it can be your someone who is very close in the family, a colleague, a friend, who knows everything about you, right? And maybe, if every, so the thing is like that. uh, we become, quite conscious. So if someone is constantly judging you, and of course, two eyes are chasing you everywhere you go, you will be conscious, and you will not be giving your 100% the way it should be. It's okay, that's how it is. When we all, train our kids, we say that just do it, live the journey, don't see the destination. Push yourself. Let's see whatever happens. Don't worry. And when we all were taught to walk, the first thing we were told is just try, and we used to fall, and then
Take
people used to
first step,
clap and say,
yeah.
come on, yeah, doing great, come on. And then we used to take two steps, and again we used to fall. So that sort of, if it is an encouraging environment, again, it comes with all your choices, what friends you have. And maybe I'm blessed with better friends. So or the people around, not only friends, the people around. And if you have done those choices in the better way, God bless you. Otherwise, those two eyes will be chasing you, and you will be keep on falling and falling and falling and falling, and feeling that you have failed throughout, and the
Yeah,
change is not happening.
in fact, yeah, it's the fear of being judged is perhaps the biggest fear most of us carry. And here is to the listener something that I have learned, and this is a question you can ask every time when you have this fear of being judged, and keeping the immediate family and the caregivers aside. Uh, Look at your last 1 week or 2 week, right? And think of a person who you think did something foolish or didn't do well or was not able to speak or whom you judged. I can guarantee you will not remember anybody. The only person you're possibly going to remember yourself.
Yeah,
Two reasons. One is beyond a point nobody cares,
yeah,
right? It may be in that movement. It's more, and I'm keeping the immediate family aside, because they are
yeah,
the most significant critique, but they are the also ones that who know us and they know where to push and put that fire so that it gets ignited because there's a different level of care together. But when it's about world, right? And I had for a very long period a lot of inhibition about speaking forget about public speaking, even in meetings. I used to have this worry, right? Should I talk? Should I speak? Should I know? Share my point of view? And most of the time, the meeting would used to get over. And somebody asked me this question, saying that, hey, is there? Oh, sorry, one second. I think people are, yeah, they're able to see. So this question changed a lot from me. If I don't remember about anybody, why on earth anybody would remember about me? Nobody cares about if I succeed, fail. They may stop by, look at me, and but they will move on. Everybody has their own life to carry on, right? So remember this: every time when this fear of being judged by the world is troubling you, take a step back and think about how many people have you judged, or do you remember about their success or failure or something funny? Trust me, you won't. And if you won't remember about anybody, nobody else is going to remember about it. How do
And
you?
and also, Ketan, yeah, Ketan, just to add here, and even if they judge, so what? Now, you want to do something, and it has to be done because you want to do it. As simple as that, right? Till the time it is something which is negative, you're killing someone or you are doing something negative, then only it should be bothered about. It should be thought about. If there are decisions of your life which is troubling you somewhere in the center, right? Then it should not bother, even if it is whomsoever, right? The only thing which should bother you is your inner voice, and the inner voice is telling you that this is how it should be or this is what you want to do. Then you should do everything to do that, right? And you have a goal, you want to go and get it. As simple as that. There is nothing that which can stop you. The only thing which stops you is you, right? And as you were mentioning, you might not remember people judging you, but even at that moment, even if they are judging you, so what?
So what?
I can just give you one small example we all would have felt. And maybe if you know swimming, and maybe you would have dived down. In army we have something called jumping from a 10 feet thing in the water. You dive it, and the body doesn't allow. The thing is that the human body doesn't allow jumping you from the heights. It is not okay for the body. And you try, and the people who have done it, would there'll be a big group of people with cheering you or judging, or come on, or abusing you, that because you're wasting time, and the entire class is there, and you are standing there, and you want to judge, and it's not happen because you're judged, or you're stressed, or you're pressurized, or whatever it is. You want to do it, it's not happening, or do it, it's not happening. And many times these are mental games, like any game you play. And Ketan, you remember we played some game there. So if I want to stress you, I'll tell you, I'll hit you there, I'll hit you there, I'll hit you there. And if I hit, and you're so stressed you cannot take it up, and that's how it happens, right? And the first time, and for these people, we had some dead sinkers in the academy, which who were very scared, even big strong guys. That's how it used to be. And I don't want to name them. Even you have many people who have got gallantry awards, posthumous, but they were dead sinkers, and they were these guys who were standing and not able to jump because of being judged by people, or because of being wooed by people, or whatever it is. But then comes maybe your that guy who feels for you, and who pushes you from there. And many times you're so scared that you hold him, and then you both of you jump together. This also happens, but that's how it is. And then you jump, and then you have to do that thing again and again and again and again, till the time that fear goes up. But this thing is what is stopping you is only you. That thing between that jumping or not jumping, the diving or not diving, is just one step. You take a step and you put both the legs together. You are there deep inside the water, and swimming, you can breathe inside. But that fear of what will happen next, and all these guys, and how should I, it's crazy. So till the time you have not done it, maybe you cannot feel it. But if not, then during the weekend, today, tomorrow, it's summers, you can try jumping from 10 feet and see what happens. Yeah.
Oh, you'll have to come and push me, right? It's not gonna happen otherwise. But it leads me to a very interesting correlation, and I want to get your view here. Do you see a connect between fear and judgment? Which means if I'm fearful about something, do I overthink, and do I think people would judge me more on that? Because when I look at things that I know I'm super amazing at it and I don't care. I realize that I don't have that fear of being judged a lot. But if there is something inside which is which makes me insecure, or which I'm afraid of, I have seen that the judgment angle is far bigger. Have you also seen a connect there, or do you see a connect? I felt that, at least for myself.
No, I rather feel that fear and being judged is two different things. Fear, as I told, it is internal. It is you limiting yourself, or you not being confident about yourself. That is fear. Fear, and it can be only overtaken by seeing in the eyes of the fear. You remember when we were kids and they used to say that, in the night 12 o'clock when you go, there'll be a chudail or there'll be a bhoot will be chasing you, and you should not see in the eyes, because then you'll transform into
Yeah,
something. But later, when I used to be in different areas of India where such fear used to happen, and then my DS used to say, just turn around and just see what is happening. The only thing about that fear, to take out that fear, is see in the eyes. Maybe it is an animal. Maybe it is when I was a kid, I was very scared from dogs. I used to remember when I used to be in Montessori, there used to be dog chasing across the balcony, as to cover almost 100 feet distance, and this dog used to scare me, and it used to almost about to jump at me, and I used to run, and the dog used to chase. And the thing about dogs are that you run and they chase you, and that's how it is. But one fine day, someone told me that just stop there and see in the eyes of the dog, and the dog, never knew what to do. So that's how it is. The fear is like a dog. You run from it and keep on chasing. One day you look back, stand there, nothing happens. So that is about fear. About judgment is, so once you are weak inside, then the people around and their so-called opinions and their so-called feeling about you will only make a difference. Otherwise, who cares? You have a, for example, family of 10 people, and they, if they're feeling something about you, they will tell you, right? But still, it is your decision. The change, whatever you want to have, the difference in your career, what you want to have, it is your thing, right? And you, from where you have come today to where you are, and of course that feeling is that you are not doing something negative. Of course you should hear all of them, because these are called friends and family, so of course they play some part and portion in your life. But at the end of the day, the fact is, there's many people around, and if you start thinking all of them, then you cannot jump, as the diving lesson goes. So you have to just breathe and do whatever you want to do, and doesn't matter either it is fear or judgment of others. It doesn't matter. Yes, I heard you, that's fine. I know whatever you told, that's fine, but this is what I want to do, and you do it.
And somewhere you're saying, the if the inner voice becomes stronger than the outside voice,
Yeah.
where and then you get a push and then you go and into it. Now, it's coming to phase two of this one. Now, how difficult or easy was this transition from the army to the corporate? Right? Did you go through something similar? And I'm talking more in relation to career shifts. Because people get confused, right? When I speak to people, and there are many times when I have myself gone through that difficulty. Should I change my line, function, industry, business? It keeps on troubling, right? So how did you, what challenges did you foresee, and what are the few things you believe work for you?
Fine. So again, I'll try my level best to make it simple, because both are two different domains. Army, the skill sets are completely different, and of course, the legality of being an army is completely different. So that is one thing. It is a government job, and second thing is about corporate life and the way we move. People say in India that every Indian changes about 12 jobs in his entire tenure. So maybe we're sure we are, but we change careers, and that's how we are, right? So when I see as a job to job, of course it was a job, it was a government job, and you take a career change. So the first factor is you define yourself what you want to do after, let's say, 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. A small planning which you have, or the impression about yourself, right? It is nothing. Maybe you're comfortable, maybe that's what you are, but army I took as completely as a passion. Okay. Now when I saw, once you grow there and you start becoming comfortable through the ranks, when you grow, you are in the more before you had to be in execution, then more you came into planning. I thought this is not why I joined army, because army was always on the front and taking the bullets the way it is. To be honest, I never wanted to coming alive from there, right? So that's how it is. But once the life moves on, you take your twists and turns in life and you make a decision. Now the decision is, of course, you balance everything, your educational standards, the way you want to do the job opportunities further, right? But one thing was common, and I knew that people domain is my strength, and I have led people to operations, to a warlike scenario. So I think I can do it very easily in the civil sector, which was a very wrong hypothesis which I had, because people here are completely different. But yes, those small tidbits of planning, if you have 2 years, 3 years, I think you're fine. And of course, you have to be quite sure about your finances. And of course, the people, your support system, your friends, your colleagues, like Ketan, who gives you a right direction. There, the sum of everything is. But you know that the strong urge comes from you. It is yes or it is no, or you want to continue, you want to leave, or maybe this job what you are doing, or the next job. So it comes from you, and I think that decision is that inner soul which takes for you, and it becomes quite easy. Post that, once you, so okay, my judgment point is, if you're getting very comfortable in your job, you have to change it. That's all. And that comfort level, maybe it is you know the money which you make, or maybe the ease of operations what you do. One way of also thinking is that, okay, life is going smooth, why should I? But if you don't, if you, from the comfort level, if you don't push yourself to the next level, you don't explore yourself, maybe your hidden potential is just limited. So my test is simple: if you're getting comfortable, you have to change, or you have to ask your boss that, okay, this is, I'm getting comfortable, can I do something extra? And bosses love it that you want a guy who wants to do more. Take more, till the time they're respecting you, and they are engaging you with good job rotation or job enrichment. I think you're fine, and it's okay. It has got nothing to do with money, promotions, whatever it is. Yeah. So comfort level. You have to challenge your comfort level every time.
So the four important things that I picked up, just for the people who have joined in. One, the most significant that Captain is speaking about is, you know when you're getting comfortable, and find out, is it okay to be, comfortable? Is it a temp, or if it is a long term phenomenon? His individual view is that it is not important good for your growth, right? Something needs to change, and there are multiple ways how you could do it. So that's one trigger of change. He also, what I pick up from his conversation is, the you need to define and have an answer for yourself in terms of what do you want to do, right? That was the first point. He said that you need to know where you are headed. So once you have a goal direction, at least an anchor, that will make the decision easier. And why that is also very important is, otherwise you will get swayed by what everybody else is doing, because everybody else is doing a course, or is running, or is doing something. If you don't have your own point of view, you're most likely going to get a diverse opinion, and get very thin and do what others are doing, ignoring what actually is important for you. Second, he spoke about is, find your core strength, right? And guys, please remember, there's a difference between strength and comfort. Strength is what you're really good at, which you can, do day in, day out, and you want that to be taken care of. So please find your strength. There are multiple ways to do it. You can speak to your manager, your family, you can go through, take multiple tests and assessments which are there. But please identify your core strengths. Because that, and I'm a huge fan of the Gallup Strength Finder, or the Clifton Strength Finder. It's a phenomenal concept. It says that just multiply your strengths and be so good that everything else is becoming secondary for you. And as I said, comfort zone is something that you should definitely, if you do a self assessment, if you're getting comfortable, find out why and do something about it. And what I also hear from him is, money, fame, designation, rank. I think these are the outcomes of these changes that you do, rather than a goal in itself. Right? Something wonderful that he said is, enjoy the journey rather than trying to get too much hooked on the destination to like get there. Not uh, the only way to know is, when you walk that path. The only way you, each one of us are here, is because we took a call at some one point in time to do something for the first time, right? I wouldn't have been having this conversation if I had a fear, saying that, okay, what will people think? Should I run a show? Should I do a talk show? But I said, one day I'm gonna do it, and I just did it. I spoke to somebody, and this somebody was so senior that even if I had to back out, I couldn't back out, right? So so I said, let me go to the person who is the most difficult one, so that I don't back out and I don't chicken out. And I'm glad that that happened, because that gave me the confidence to do the second one, and third one, the fourth one, the sixth one, and here we are. So, and for all of you, look back. Sometime you took that one step, right, without having knowing the answers of where it's going to take you. So thank you for that, Captain. That's
Thank you.
super amazing.
Thank you.
Ah, Now, what's been your understanding of, uh, if it's an internal change that one needs to do. So, are there practices that you have or theories that you follow, which is about how to let go of the fear? Are there hacks that has worked for you, which you think you can share with people around?
I'm a simple guy. I'll tell you simple things. See, fear. The beauty is only you know what you are fearful of, right? You know me, Ketan. I was always fearful of playing any sports, and whenever that our so-called Mahatma Hansraj Aryan tournament used to be happening, I used to be sitting somewhere in the corner, seeing you guys playing or running or doing. And the genesis of that was in Montessori somewhere, I think two or one. Uh, I was in a junior school where the UA used to be my senior there, Prabhatar, and in that there was a race, and the whistle blew, and I was so scared I could not run. That was a 50-meter or 100-meter race, and I was so scared I did not run. And the fear of being judged, the fear of performing, the fear of competition around came so much inside me that I was completely frozen. And it took joining an army and running for the nation to take out that fear out, right? And these days, of course, that I've done many full marathons and with quite good speed, and also that was there. And remember still when I was, but that the first thing is you acknowledge that fear and you don't run from it. And I remember when I was there in academy, and the first day race, there was a 2.4 kilometer race, which was, or 1.6, I don't remember, mostly it was 2.4, and we all started running. I was the second last guy in the entire academy who was trying his level best not to become last. That day I acknowledged that yes, I'm very bad in running. I knew this, but that day I knew it very clearly, and it was very much in front of me. And then I met a guy who was I use his name everywhere, Colonel Sangram Singh Shorachak. Then he was a major then. He was from the elite forces, para commandos, and he was there at the finishing point, and he was laughing there, having a chewing gum. He was a huge guy, and he was like, Pranav, you know what? You run like shit. I told, yes, sir, I do know. I told, okay, okay, buddy, then we have to start doing something about it. And I told, yes, sir. So when we start, I told, sir, from tomorrow morning, sir, we'll start running. He told, nothing doing tonight. We'll start practicing. And after that, he made a monkey out of me. I was running in the nights, in the afternoons, in the evenings. I was just running for 1 month, and then I never knew. Means something happened, and after a month or two, I was the second fastest runner in the academy. So first is you acknowledge the fear, and the only thing is you have to face it. Face the fear, push yourself, then only fear will go. And the simplest thing is face the fear for n number of times. You're scared of running, run n number of times. Be the loser n number of times. See yourself failing n number of times, being fearful n number of times. And one day the fear will go because you're facing it. And fear goes only from facing it, and facing it a number of times, and that's how it is. And while facing, it is like a guy who is obstinate, who doesn't give up. Then the fear will give up, right? Or rather, I told you about diving. It was a simple thing, and you go up and you jump again, or someone pushes you again, you go up, and again you. So the same thing happens once you run with you, jump with your parachute. Doesn't happen. The human body doesn't allow you to do that, and you will see yourself that, oh my god, this is me, and how cannot I? It will just, you're frozen. So the beauty about fear is it is internal, it is created by you, and you have to, only you can take yourself out. So that's what one, and you cannot underplay yourself. If you know today what is your fear, and you cannot be comfortable then, right? It's only because you know, but you have to create that stamina. Now, if I know that I will be fearful, and I am scared of ghosts. First, I have to create the stamina that if heartbeat goes up, at least I can control. Otherwise, I will have a heart attack. I will die, right? Or if I don't know running, at least I'll buy good shoes and at least try walking for some time, to mitigate that fear of run, or maybe public speaking, or whatever it is. I'll start in front of practicing in front of. These are small things, but it goes a long way. But simple thing is you have to face your fears, and facing fear has got no shortcuts. It's just like I told you in the childhood. You see the ghost is chasing you. You have to go behind and see the ghost, and there is nothing. And maybe that day, that You won over the ghost.
If I what I hear from Captain is this is also something that I personally believe in. Acceptance is the first step to change. Action is the second. So Captain is speaking about first accept that you're scared. There's something
Yeah.
that is worrying,
And
right?
being scared is not bad, being fearful is not bad, being if you are in a changing a career decision or taking whatever call, and if you know that okay, this is life will be going tough, or for example, Ketan started this talk show and he knows that maybe people will join or people will not join, or people will appreciate not appreciate, it doesn't matter. You have to do something, go forward and do it. Doesn't matter whatever. And once you have done it, then comes persistency. The action plan comes with persistence. You keep on doing again, 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 and again, and again, and one day you see yourself outbeating yourself. So it is always, life is like you are against you, the so-called fearful you, so-called non-performing you, or so-called that chick which was the chicken which was there, who was non-performing, it was not that strong, right? So you only conquer that person. You don't conquer any competition, anything in your life, or any circumstances. You only better yourself, right? So today you're running, you take a no, you're taking 2.4 kilometers, how many minutes? 15 minutes. So tomorrow maybe I have to reduce 10 seconds or 20 seconds, and then one fine day you'll say, oh my god, I'm doing great. So acceptance for sure, number one. Number two is you have to build yourself according.
Mm.
Persistency, continue throughout, and that's how I think life changes. Living in the moment, life is beautiful, right? And you know what you want to change, and that's how it is. Yeah.
No, I thank you. I keep on hearing that life is simple and life is beautiful. Live the journey. Captain speaking about a lot about it is okay for all of us to be scared of something or having a fear of something. Don't overthink about it. One, first accept it and take massive action, consistent action. Keep on doing it. The only person you have to beat is your old version, which is fearful one, and then you would be through it. Thank you. I have a question, Captain. Let me just pull that up on the screen, and then we will. I have another question for you separately. Okay, so that's Santosh. Santosh, thank you for joining and asking this question. Question is Pranav. Nowadays, what we hear from leaders, the situation is something where you stop your
Saturation is
sorry, that
sat-
saturation is something where you stop your learning. My question is, people are changing 12 jobs in their entire career, while government professionals stick to only one. Can you please elaborate on the switching job on a regular span of time and learning, or stick to a particular job and keep evolving gradually?
it is tough one. It is two different sectors. When you say government jobs also, see what changes there is your location. Every 2 years there's a different location, there is a different arm, there's different training. I'm not talking only about army, I'm talking anything. So government job is all about transfers. We all know that, right? So again, a different place, you acclimatize there, a different boss, so your different way of working. So life is not the same. Here, generally, what you see in civil is your same job. The 12 jobs, what I mentioned, keep on changing. The first thing is, what is your calling? Maybe you find a company which is great enough and you want to continue your entire life into it. I have many people working with my companies, Renault, Nissan, all 20 years, 30 years. They joined there as a GET or a management trainee. They're continuing there. See, the what I strongly feel is, if your purpose about your life is connected to the purpose of the company, things are fine. There's no need for any change. And of course, you'll have good managers, good days, bad days, good appraisals, bad appraisals, promotions, no promotions, hikes, no hikes. But if the purpose is connected, this is what you want to do, and this is what you are doing it. The impression every day when we get up, my I had a boss from US used to say that, Pranav, when you get up in the morning, what do you think, that why you are coming to the job? And if that is clear, things are fine, there's no problem. And you're challenging yourself every day, so that engagement, seeing yourself, beating yourself, happens every day, right? But if that is not happening, and every Friday you are happy that you have a weekend, and Monday you are sluggish that, oh my god, I'm going to the same job, then some problem, you have to do something about it. Yeah, it's not about the money, it's not about the company. Maybe it is about something to do with the manager. More than that, it is something to do about you are not comfortable. If the manager is treating you like shit and you are taking that shit, means there is some problem in you. People will treat you only the way you allow it. And how many of us, again, I'm telling you, have the courage to go and say, this is not good. Maybe the guy will tell you, don't come from tomorrow, so what? But no one can treat you the way you cannot be treated. You have some impression about yourself, right? Or do the job which you don't want. right? So these are things which is very, see, you don't get demotivated in one single instance. There are instances after instances after instances. You don't lose your so-called out of love, doesn't happen in one instance. There is you, because you give chances, right? That's how the typical human psychology is, we give chances. So instances after instances after instances, and okay, this is not working out, this is not working out. There is something which is used very often these days called toxic work environment. The toxicity doesn't happen in one day. One day someone is putting the gas and everyone is dying. It doesn't happen one day. It happens over the period of time. You want to do some change. It is a career, it is about you. It has to be starting from you, and of course it will be having some time span. So that's how it feels. So that is a different genre, if I say government jobs, and it's a completely different track. How do you adapt and your own challenges? Here what I see is your purpose is connected to the purpose of the company. If it is that company which you've started 20 years back and you're doing good, you're completely fine. Because every morning when you get up and you see yourself, you're doing whatever you wanted to do, completely fine, no problem, don't change your job. Only if what can be there, okay sir, the problem can be maybe my job profile can be expanded, well and good, go there, talk to them, right? I should have extra opportunity, I should have this training, that training, this domain, that domain. The acceptance and the dialogue keeps on happening, and there's no so-called judgment or limiting ourselves if the work environment is good. But if those things are not happening and day after day after day you are demotivating, then brother, that is the time to change the job.
Thank you. And then, Santosh, if I would share, if I can add my perspective here, and I'm picking up from what Captain is saying again and again. You know, life is a journey. Similarly, career is a journey, right? There is no specific defined path in terms of how many jobs or when should you change your job and all. And from whatever experience I had till now in the HR domain, this is absolutely correct. So please look at that journey and ask this question every single day: am I enjoying the journey? Right? I think you will start to find the answers that you want. If you're getting every single day the answer, I'm not, go deeper, find out what will make it interesting. Either you can get it in the similar context, you can talk to your manager, or at times, if it is out of your control, go back, do something about it. But what Captain is again reinforcing, and that I also believe, is you have to take charge. You have to make that decision for yourself, demand, ask, put that into conversation, and make decisions for yourself. Unfortunately, and with my experience in corporate, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but if you look at our most of our upbringing, every time somebody else decided, what do I learn, how do I learn, when do I learn, and what do I do with the learning, right? And that gets extrapolated in corporate also, right? In corporate, we wait for HR or talent partner or manager to come and say, okay, let's sit and create your individual development plan. They'll do it. But what is your own point of view of what you want, right? You need to have those answers. So thank you for asking that, Santosh. And I have another question, Captain, here. This is from Lavesh. Lavesh, hi, good to see you. How to take that step to switch from a successful career to something you don't know would work or not, considering there are so many responsibilities that you need to look after. And Captain, probably you have gone through the exact same situation, right?
Yeah.
And knowing a little bit, I know Lavesh personally, so I do understand what he's coming from. But hearing this from you would have a huge value add to him. So, Lavesh, thank you so much for asking that. Captain, over to you.
Thank you, Lavesh. I this is very innocent, and this is quite true. Comes from the heart. Thank you for the question. So I can smell a fear, and I can smell being judged from this question. The fear, and I'll add both the things: the fear of being judged, or so-called call your commitments. And you're seeing that maybe if I change and how it will be. See, the beauty of about life is maybe now something happens. There is a some explosion, something happens, earthquake happens, and or maybe there is a different COVID variant which is waiting, and tomorrow we
No
are not
COVID, no
there.
COVID, COVID, no COVID.
Right, so we are not there. So
Yeah.
the beauty of our life is being temporary, and the day you accept it, life becomes quite strong. If you take it that you are mortal, you can die tomorrow, you will not exist, still the people who your commitments and your families, somehow they will get that thing resilience to carry on, right? But today, if it is a change of the career, it completely depends on you. Why you want to change it? It's nothing to do, as I mentioned from the beginning, to the promotions, to the salary, to the hikes, to whatever it is. Maybe that aspiration, the purpose is not being met, and then if you change it, it's completely fine. But see, things are completely different these days. We go for small wins. Appraisal season is on. You have, people getting frustrated. I think there's some addition there.
No, no, the same question. Just putting it up for the audience. Yeah. Go
Yeah. So appraisal seasons are happening, and people are telling that there are some strong discussions. Sometimes it happens when it is escalated to HR, and whenever we go, we find simple things. It's not about the rating, it's not about the hike, it's accepting the feedback. The same man, and more of the time I go back and how, I see it. Maybe the same manager hired you, and the same manager is giving you feedback, and the same manager. There's a lot of things. So once you start the relationship, the personal biases will come, their expectations will come, your expectation not being met, his expectation not being met. So it is a journey, right? And at the end of the year, there's a feedback given, and there's a lot of resistance. No, how can you give me this? It's not possible, because at the moment you're seeing momentarily. The also factor is, even if someone tells you that you are an idiot, let not someone's opinion about you be your reality. And then you take a call. If some, of course, if there's a disrespect and I cannot take it, of course I'll move forward. What is the doubt like? But I will tell him that whatever you're talking is not correct. But many times we don't do that. We just keep quiet and we say that no, my rating has to be different, or my hike has to be different. We get attached to something, we quantize it, but we got affected by something else, right? And this comes from those opinions about ourselves, those fears which which we never faced, the fears of talking clearly in front of the management, or escalation. Even writing an escalation mail to the HR doesn't happen, and then you're sulking, and every day when you go to the office, you are not in that motivation level, and one day it bursts, and then you leave. But it is just the action you have not taken, right? You go and join a different company without addressing all these fear factors and all these emotions what was held inside you. The same thing happens, and you leave the second company and the third company. These things continue till the time you understand that it is not the company's problem, it is your problem. And the day you know this, things start changing. Even that the third or the fourth job gives you a lesser salary, it is a smaller company, it is not an MNC, but its purpose is connected to your purpose and you're happy, you're completely fine,
Yeah.
right? So
And
maybe the first choice, switch, if you asked me, is is the purpose connected? Do you think that you are adding value, or this is the way you wanted to conduct your life? If that is not the person which you see in the mirror, and you say no, this is not what I want to do, just it is time to change.
yeah, and then two perspectives here. One, and this is the test that I've done, and to the audience, you can try this. Most of us won't even remember the exact increment we got 2 to 3 years back, even if it was a painful one. We don't, right? Because this is how we progress. We keep on looking at something which is bigger, brighter, and as Captain said, it is that movement. Probably when you have a disconnect, but life is about moving on. And Lavish, a quick thought here. You need to understand this responsibility is a self accepted and acclaimed responsibility, or this is a responsibility that has been called out, right? Saying that, okay, I expect this from you. A lot of time, we assume that this is what we are responsible for, right? And we try to stretch it so much without even and many times I've seen people realizing that this was, I was thinking that I'm responsible for this because my family thinks that I should be responsible for things. But when I go and talk to the family, they don't even consider me, think that I should be responsible for it. So think about it, that where is this responsibility coming from? Is it your own righteous think that I need to do this for, to be responsible, or this is a responsibility that the family has expressed? Many times, this is a gray area, but you need to find out. Either ways, once you know it and once you define it, you'll be able to deal with it far better. Acceptance. Captain speaks about acceptance, awareness. Understand what that is. Otherwise, this is gonna stretch you out. But thank you so much.
Just
Yeah,
to
so
add one more thing, Ketan, here, just one more thing. And this is again quite simple and quite personal the way I take it. Uh, COVID, we were working in front of the family, and many times the family used to say, "Ki, this is, are you sure that this is what you are doing and this is you're getting paid for?" or because it is very open now, everyone sees you. Otherwise, they see you as a person, goes in the morning, comes in the evening, and gets some money, the paycheck at the end of the month. So that's how it is, and you should be treated in similar manner or not, or buy some good honeymoon packages or holiday packages. That's how it is. But the fact is, psychology says that you live two lives, right? One in the home, the person what you are, and one in the office, the person you are. And the lesser the resonance, if you can be the same person what you are in the home, the same person in the office, I think things are quite fine. But if it depends at what is the resonance. If the resonance level is completely different, because you're living a split personality, you are not that person, right? And your happiness will be how openly you are to the person you are actually. And if you're not that, then there is serious, and there are n number of psychometrics which are available for this, that and to bridge this gap, that you should be the same person. The person should not be portrayed, something which you are, as simple as that, right? Which of course comes in the skill sets which is there, very clear to you. And so no displaying a different personality. And if the more communion between these two personalities, you're a happy person, you're enjoying your life, you're enjoying your job, and things are fine.
yeah, and yeah, Santosh says thank you, Santosh, for asking that, and Lavesh, thank you again for asking that question. At least from a career point, this is what I ask people: if the payment or if the pay for both the roles, right, the split roles are similar, which one would you still choose today, right? If money or responsibility were not the key criteria, where is your heart? What do you want to do? You will get your answers very clearly there. Try that out. And yes, it boils down to purpose. Lavish says, "Thank you, Captain Gaten, for your valuable point of view. I feel it does boil down to purpose. Absolutely." This is also split, which I like what ikigai as a book's concept speaks about. There are few people who are able to convert their passion into profession, right? That doesn't mean everybody should convert their passion into profession, right? There are many times when you're good at something and it helps you create a value and wealth for yourself. That's also absolutely good. But be your best there, and there are multiple ways to still pursue your passion, right? So that circle that ikigai speaks about is very valuable. Just give it a look. It will give you a lot of answers. It gave me a lot of answers to what I wanted to do. Always wanted to do. All right, guys, if there are any questions, shoot it out. But Captain, we're very close to the session. One last question. I know the theme that we spoke about is resilience, and what I understand from you is fear is the biggest probably inhibitor of resilience. Do you see is the biggest reason why we resilience or our ability to bounce back is impacted, right? Or what more does resilience include?
Resilience, the word says fighting back. Okay, now fighting back, if you say, the first factor inside is the courage. Courage is not having no fear. Courage is even having with fear, can you look back at the ghost? That is courage, right? Courage is not running
No,
away.
pause there. It's a lovely statement. So, okay, I would assume I thought courage is probably absence of fear, or okay. So what Captain is saying, you guys make a note. It's just so amazing that courage is not about absence of fear or lack of fear. But courage is about, in spite of having those fear, you going and dealing with it. That's super amazing. Thanks, thank you. That's something that just got stuck in my head.
No, so
Wow.
we see the thing is, we are flooded with wrong examples. What you see, what I am wearing here today, the way we are conducted by our kids, that superheroes, and we see that the superheroes have no fear. Sorry, it doesn't happen. When we used to conduct ourselves in any operation or in your life or wheresoever, you say that you will have no fear. Not possible. The fear comes from the way you have been groomed from the beginning, from the day when I was running, and when I was a kid, there was a fear. I had no courage. There was no difference from that guy to the guy who was running an academy, right? The difference was only that he was running. The kid in Montessori 1 or 2 was not running because he had no courage. The second guy had courage, and that courage pushed him time and again, time and again, time and again with persistence. He became something different. And of course, when you show the courage, there will be people who will be coming to help you, or you are just frozen like a kid. No, my teacher was telling run, I was not running, I was frozen, fear, got no courage, right? So that's how it is, right? And this is very important in resilience. If you and you know that you have courage or not, you know that when it was they told the ghost was chasing you, you looked back or not. Be true to yourself. And if that courage is not happening, you are just living a pseudo life. We all know it's completely fine, to go in a war and get defeated or fail, or to take a call, take a chance, and you fail. Take a career shift and it doesn't work out. Go for an entrepreneurship, stint, and it doesn't work out. It's completely okay. But what is not okay is not trying. You are so succumbing to your fears, and you don't have courage, and you know that. So you had a plan, you had a thing, what you did about it. So then comes a book which was never written, then comes a show which never came into picture, then comes a dream or a passion or a career which was never ever exposed or lived or even tried for. And then even if you are working in wheresoever, you are living in a magnanimous house with a magnanimous family, with a beautiful car, and with a lot of money in your bank, but you are living an unsatisfied life because you know yourself deep inside you don't have courage. And that the topic today, what we spoke about, is career resilience and this fighting back spirit. The first thing important is, do you have the courage? And there's one more word which I leave it today with all of you, is called fortitude. Even in that fear and having a lesser feeling, no stamina, you have that capacity to fight back. That will be something great. You know that maybe you might not win, or you will be judged and it is not working out, but still you carry on. It says from the Rocky 4 that it's not how many punches you hit, but how many punches you take, and we forget the last sentence and keep on moving forward. That makes a difference. So you took all the punches, but you forgot to move forward and keep on moving forward and forward and forward. That then you win. And the life is all about moving forward. And this is what I see resilience is.
Yeah, I think Captain spoke about Rocky. I knew it was coming, uh, and because this was there as his wallpaper for quite some time, and it's one of my, it connects to me also, and this is what it reads. It ain't about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Right? Very powerful. Right? It ain't about how hard you hit. It is about how hard you can get hit and still keep moving forward. Right? So thank you for that. Fortitude, absolutely brilliant. Captain, any closing points for people who kind of want that change but are stuck between how will I manage my house, finances, what will happen, the uncertainty, the pseudo predictability that if I stay in my job every year, if I get 10%, I'll reach there. This is what I become. Versus, there is a calling coming saying that should I make that shift? Should I take that plunge? Anything closing that you want to share with folks? And before that, we have somebody called Ramanan Jha. Ramanan, thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback and thank you for joining in. Yes,
Okay,
Captain.
so
Any closing?
I'll tell you two things. One is, if you have a call, first is people don't have calling. Your inner voice is completely so dead that it doesn't talk to you. But if you have a calling, you must, and that is why it is called calling, right? If you have that inner voice happening, then please follow it, right? It might be, the resultant can be good, bad, ugly. Life can butcher you, kill you. But the thing is, we again, the topic was resilience. You have to just see yourself in the mirror every day, and if it says that this is what you, the life which you expected and you want to live, if it is okay, carry on. And say it is not, then you must do something for that life. And even if tomorrow you are killed for that, and that's how, the I am a soldier from within, so that line I'll tell you, that you can kill me, right? So when we have militants coming there, or the worst of the militants are called fidains, right? Who have the so-called gunpowder, or the thing, they come there to burst and to make people die. And the worst, or the extremists of the soldiers, are called paracommandos. So they come to die, and the paracommandos also have something written here or near to the chest. It's called balidan, right? So the fact is very simple: you can kill me, but I won't die. That is better than not trying and getting scared that, oh, if I go there, my EMIs, how will I go, and how my commitments and whatever, and it doesn't, again, changes my colleague. If I fail, it was something, it was a changing a job, entrepreneurship venture, like Ketan, getting a platform, talking, writing a book, taking a something, whatever was there you did not do. After 10 years, it will be chasing you. And when you die, and when they say that when you die, the entire life revolves around you, and it comes like screen, the entire life is played. And you'll feel that all these things will come to you and say that, your life was only half lived. What you wanted, you did not even have the courage to pursue it. So if you have something, the calling, if the calling is happening, if it is happening, listen to it, go for it.
Thank you, and I love that point that Captain said, that you can kill me, but I won't die, right? And just remember something that I also follow: if it matters, do something about it, and if it doesn't, don't allow it to matter, right? That's something that you need to always have in your head and declutter yourself. With that, thank you so much for your time, Captain. It was super amazing, super inspiring as always. Thank you
Thank
for your time. Thank you everybody for listening to this. And I promise to keep on getting such interesting people on the show. For this one, you can kill me, but I'm not gonna die, right? I will keep on getting people here for this conversation because it feels good. Thank you so much again, Captain, for your inspiration. And with that, we close this session.